There's a really famous experiment called the Five Monkeys experiment. I wrote a blog about this recently, which is why it comes to mind. No one really knows if it actually happened, but it's a really good story. There are similar experiments which
Okay.
happened. The story goes like this. So researchers put five monkeys in a cage. And in that cage, it was a big cage, but there was a ladder that led to a hatch in the ceiling that the monkeys could climb up and open. I don't know why they needed a ladder. They're monkeys, but apparently there was a ladder. And there was nothing to do in the
They didn't
cage.
have a tree.
Yeah, exactly. There was nothing
Yeah.
to do in the cage. There was no food. It was boring.
Okay.
So after a while, obviously, the monkeys got restless and they realized that there was this ladder. They started to climb the ladder to try and get out. So whenever a monkey approached the ladder and started climbing it, something bad would happen to the other monkeys. They'd get sprayed with water, or they'd get loud noises played, or like there'd be electric shocks or whatever. You know, in those inhumane experiments they ran in the 60s, it's kind of one of those scenarios. And
I
so
gotcha.
so the story goes that what happened is that gradually over time, every time a monkey approached the ladder, the other monkeys started attacking it to stop it from climbing the ladder so they didn't get the punishment. So when that was happening consistently, the researchers would start taking monkeys out of the cage and replacing them with new monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
And they removed the punishment, but the monkeys that had already been there carried on attacking any monkey that approached the ladder. And this experiment continued until there were none of the original monkeys left in the cage, but the behavior persisted. So none of the monkeys that were in there had any experience of the punishment happening, but they still
Oh
persisted with the
wow.
behavior. So that story is a bit apocryphal, as I say, but there's a lot of other studies that show similar behavior. But so the point of that is that changing the people won't necessarily change the culture unless you change all of the people and change the systems and change the
Interesting.
framework. And that's such a heavy lift to do that it typically doesn't get done. So actually what you tend to find is that teams get replaced and the culture doesn't really change and the problems still persist because the environment shapes how people behave. Going back to your original question, recognizing that you need to change is key. Understanding what the change that you need to make is and what the state that you want to move towards is also crucial, obviously. But being really honest about where you are against that is the really hard part because that can be really painful.